So we can actually edit HTML elements with JavaScript. Remember from CSS that we had the style, we had IDs, right? So IDs start with a hashtag in CSS, and we can name it anything we want, my ID. And let's give the color, the background color maybe can be blue. And let's create an HTML element, like h4, and let's say I have an ID of my ID, and let's give this heading an ID. ID equals my ID. Notice when we have an ID, the ID in here does not have a hashtag. We have ID equals my ID, and when we want to reference it with CSS, we have to place a hashtag in front of it here, my ID, so that the CSS knows that this is an ID and not a tag name. So to access that element with CSS, let's just see how it looks right now. So we have a heading. I have an ID of my ID with a background color of blue, and we have our big heading here. Now to edit that element with JavaScript, we just memorize this document dot get element by ID, open bracket, and we put our ID in here, which is my ID, and we have dot inner HTML is then equal to whatever we want. JavaScript edited this element, and we save that. Now notice the ID goes in here in quotes. Okay, so this is how it is: document dot get common G, and then every word after that is capitalized, the first letter. Get element by ID. That's how you remember it. Open bracket, put the ID in quotes in here. Dot, just remember the first word is common, inner, and then HTML is in all caps. Equals, and this is in closing quotes. This can be anything you want. We can even put HTML in here. So let's put, if we wanted this to be in italics, we can put I here, and we can put HTML. We could put an image HTML here if we wanted, and let's save that just to see how it will look. Launch in Chrome, and we see JavaScript has edited, and notice this is in italics, the HTML element I edited this element. Remember, if we didn't have this, it would say I have an ID of my ID. Now, notice that we would have never seen I have an ID of my ID, this wording here, because JavaScript edited it. This will run as soon as the page loads. So what if you didn't want to change it as soon as the page loads, that it would just display, change that to what it was? Well, you can use JavaScript events. So what we could do, we could have a button, and we can say click me or anything we want, and this on click event is a JavaScript event which can go in any HTML element, so that when you click it, it will run the JavaScript, not just buttons, but we'll use a button here. So to do that, we can actually cut this from down here and paste it in here. So this is like a inline JavaScript, and we don't need these script tags anymore. Later on I'll show you how to use functions so that you can make this neater, so you won't have such a long piece of code in here. And the only second thing we should notice here, we will get an error. So let's save that. Let's launch it in Chrome. So now we see it says I have an ID of my ID, and if we click this, it doesn't work. Why is that? First things first, whenever we get an error or don't know what's happening, always check the console. So we see we get a syntax error, an expected end of input. What is that? And it tells us line 23 in this file. Let's click that, and it shows us here the line. So that's the line we edited. Let's go back to line 23 here and see. No, you cannot have the same quotes on the inside and outside. Notice the double quotes here and the double quotes here. We should have single quotes here and a single quote here, because it can't distinguish between the double and single when we put this code in this attribute value here. So that's just something to note if you're going to put JavaScript in here. Save that. Let's reload. Click. Notice when we click now, it edited the element. Let's try that again. Reload. I have an ID of my ID. Click me. And JavaScript changed the element. So you can use this to change images, change a whole set of different things, anything you want.